When I first saw it, it was very, very confusing, tricky because one, I had never done anything like that type of creating media or content for that type of anamorphic this thing. So that in its own was already very tricky for me because I didn't know the way to approach it. Then I remember this video I made about Lagos a while back. That was in 2019. I made this sort of like travel video for a contest by Filmic Pro. Basically, I was just trying to like do a documentary sort of like travel experience video as my entry, where you had to film using their app on the phone. So I was just going through the footage that I had there, and I just thought, oh, what if I just use that same similar type of concept where I show a character experiencing Lagos from, just show people what Lagos feels like from a character's point of view. Actually, during the entire process, I got to do things I had never done before. I got to actually like ride on a canoe for the first time. I also got to visit the wildlife center here at Lekki. I just said, let me just try to recreate the character that I filmed because I didn't film myself. I filmed somebody else experiencing the whole Lagos thing in that short film. So I saw, I recreated a character, and then I tried to recreate the experiences he had and look for ways to creatively, take advantage of that anamorphic effect. That's why he like splashes his hand in the water. I told him to do it in the actual BTS footage that I sent. I told him to like do it for like slow motion effect. I thought, what if I did that and then water comes out towards the screen? Then find a cool way to transition to the wildlife conservation center that I also filmed. And then I was thinking, okay, I've done these two scenes. I have a limit of like 15 seconds. How can I round it off? Because there were like multiple ideas. It's very hard for me to decide on what to select. So I just thought, what? Lagos is a place that is rich in art and, it has artistry. I don't know, there are loads of artists and there are loads of painters and people are just able to express themselves in ways that you just can't really come up with and stuff like that. So I thought, what if I just showcase the art gallery that like exists here? And so the first two scenes sort of like act as maybe paintings, because if you actually look in that art gallery, there are like paintings there. There are paintings for my friends that do art. I asked them if I could use it. So like it's kind of like a shout out to them and what they do. It also has like the painting experiences of the first two scenes in that place. So that's basically how I came up with the idea for the whole thing. Because of the nature of how the billboard works and how you're supposed to set up your designs and your artwork and your scene, there are certain ideas I had or certain things I wanted to do in certain ways that didn't work out, and it just led me to troubleshoot and brainstorm to look for ways that could work. Because even the tutorials out there could only like take you so far. So there are a lot of hurdles I faced that actually led me to come up with a way to fix the issue I was going through. It's tricky to explain. One thing I would say I can even call out is how I found a way to overcome the issue of I wanted to create a smooth transition between the first and second scene. Because you notice the first and second scene transition, it's not just a wipe transition. It's more of like a frame block transition, like in filmmaking, whereby you are in this scene now, right? And so maybe the camera is focused on the character and the camera is moving. And then you have maybe a pillar, maybe there are pillars in the scene, and the camera moves with the pillar, and the person like masks the edge of the pillar as the camera is moving, and the next footage is already under revealing it. I use a similar technique for that tree coming in, more of like a frame block transition into the next scene. Then the transition from the second scene to the third scene, I use picture frame. It was very, very tricky. I don't know how to explain because of the way the curve thing works. I had to do some mental maths and figure out the whole thing. It's very, very tricky to explain, but I know what I did. The logic behind solving problem might just be from constantly, solving problems from previous multiple other projects. So all of that knowledge just comes to you when you're like trying to solve another problem. It's basically just taken from the pool of issues you might have faced before. In the case of the transition thing, so basically I had a picture frame. I had the last scene and then I had the picture frame, and I wanted to take a rectangular shaped scene and somehow magically make it, fit into a square shape and make the whole process smooth and transition well. So basically, I would first go at it with how my head pictures it, maybe scale it, adjust the scale to match the rectangular shape and animate it back to this position or something like that. And then I did it and the distortion effect was messing up, like it wasn't working well. I basically went to the source material you people provided and I was just going through the tutorials and working watching how they were explaining how the distortion works. So I would just say I basically brainstormed how they were explaining, the process of moving from a normal flat video to the projected video, and I just practically reverse engineered it and applied the logic, because this video is a flat video and I want it to project. But when it's transitioning, instead of it transitioning in a projected manner, it's transitioning in a flat manner. So I now have to adjust the UVs or maybe baking the distortion effects to counter the flat effects. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a very tricky process. I think that's the best way I can put it. It might not be very clear, but that's just the best way I can explain. I'm just happy that I just pushed further and I was able to find a way to reverse engineer it and make that particular transition work. But yeah, I always usually enjoy the thrill of facing challenges when I see stuff like contests. In a way, it sort of forces me to try to push myself to the limit or try to do things in a different way, or maybe face a challenge, because sometimes certain contests they're not like dictated by your own terms. You have to go with what you are being asked to do in that particular contest or whatsoever or challenge. So this particular one in general was able to really challenge me. I was able to learn something I have not done before and also overcome a lot of issues that I would have probably faced if I had taken a job on it for the first time. I got a first-time experience on it in that challenge, and it would be a lot easier for me to, attempt stuff or approach it with similar things to it in the future. And I would just say I was happy that I actually applied for it and I went through the whole thing and I finished it. The entire experience, and even going for the events that was hosted for it after, everything was just really bliss and enjoyable. And yeah, I would like to maybe see more stuff like that in the future. I do challenge other artists and people in this field to be beneficial to them in some way or another. Because at the end of the day, it's not always about winning, it's just the whole experience that you gain from it.